guys, and welcome back to a new YouTube video. As you can see, today I'm going to be talking about kit and how I pack my Bergen for exercise. This video was really highly requested, so I thought I'd go through my Bergen and outline what I put where and why. It's going to be an overview. I'm not going to pull out like all the items I bring on exercise, but I will put a list on screen when I'm talking about certain compartments to say what I'd put in there. And obviously it's exercise dependent, depends on how many days we're going, what we're going to be doing, what the time of the year is. But this is like a general sort of rule of thumb that I use of where I put stuff, and obviously quantities and things will depend on obviously what we're doing. So let's just jump right into it. This is my issue Bergen. I'm not a fan of it, if I'm honest. I want to buy my own, probably go to like JJ's, or if anybody has any recommendations for a decent Bergen, where to go, let me know. But I think I'm going to wait till after Sandhurst to invest in that. So at the moment I'm just using issued kit. This is what it looks like. I've literally got MTP Bergen but DPM pouches, so fashion. That's pretty much it from the outside. Obviously it's the standard layout of main compartment, 2 side pouches, a little compartment at the front, top flap. Also obviously things are taped up. I mean, it looks really far down, but normally when I'm on exercise, my Bergen's not this small, it's massive, so that's why the tape looks like it's at the end, but normally this would be right up to the clip. Right, where to start? I'm always going to start top and go down. In here, I'm not going to pull it out because it'll take me 10 years to put it back in. I have my basher, and I also have some spare tent pegs and bungees, but I also, on the basher itself, have like bungees and tent pegs like taped on, so when it's like 2 in the morning and you got to put the basher up, I don't have to like looked for where things are. They're just already attached, so it can just be banged up, and if you're getting bugged out, it can be banged back in without having to worry about, did I leave a tent peg behind, any of that. So yeah, basher goes in the top, adds a little bit I think of extra waterproofing as well if you've got that on that top section. Opening up the Bergen, you then have this inside compartment here. So this either is snacks or like my gash rubbish bag, depending on what we're doing. If it's going to be a long exercise and there's going to be places where I know I can put rubbish when we're like in the harbour area, I won't put rubbish in here. I'll just have a little bit in my day sack for it, and I'll use this like full of snacks. But if it's like a short exercise or I know I've got to carry my rubbish with me, snacks will go in the day sack or in other pouches, and this will just be like my gash bag. It's separate away from the whole Bergen. It's not near anything. If it spills, gets dirty, whatever, I basically put a plastic bag in here and just fill that with rubbish. Opening up the Bergen itself, basically in here essentially is my sleeping system and a spare set of clothes. The spare set of clothes are at the very bottom of the Bergen in a dry bag, but in basic training they'll get you to put it in like a plastic bag, and it'll look something like this. I think this is a set of trousers that are in a waterproof bag. In basic training this is how they sort of teach you to do it, but after basic training I've just put a set of clothes into a dry bag, stuff that at the bottom of my bag, and that's basically if my kit that I'm wearing gets absolutely wrecked, I know I've got spare kit in the bottom of my Bergen. Or it's also acts as like wet and warm kit if it's like that's what we're doing and you want to get into warm kit at night, put wet kit on the next day. Basically my warm kit or my spare kit is at the bottom of this Bergen, and then everything else in this section is basically sleeping. So I've got a foldable roll mat that's just like sitting down the back. In the section I have a big dry bag, and then all that's in here is my sleeping bag. This is like a winter sleeping bag, and I then have it in its waterproof liner. So as you can see, the sleeping bag itself and then clothes at the bottom takes up probably 75% of what's in here. You can squish it down a lot more and you can get better sleeping bags obviously that take up less space, but I just use everything that's issued because it makes life easier. Also, not that this really is about advice, it's more of a show and tell of what my kit is, but I would say invest in some good dry bags. All the ones you get issued, if it's anything like the ones I've had issued, are absolutely awful. They're not even waterproof. It's basically like putting your kit in a pillowcase. So decent dry bags. So that's what's in the main compartment. I'll move down to the little compartment. This is literally just a water bottle. Moving on to the side pouches. So the side pouches are basically where all of my stuff is and where it lives. I have it very like separate and organized in that one of my pouches will always be admin, so in terms of That's where my wash kit is. That's where maybe a spare t-shirt is, underwear, and then like my foot powder and stuff like that, and maybe boot polishing kit depending on what boots I'm going on exercise with. That lives on one side, so basically to admin myself, personal hygiene level, that goes on one side, and on the other side it's all food and cooking. So it keeps it very separate. So again, I have dry bags in each pouch, and I also have them different colours because it just helps me a little bit. Obviously I know which side is which, but if you're monging it out, having different colours helps. This is my personal admin side. In here I've got my boot polishing kit. That's just in a nice little Tupperware. I don't normally take this on exercise though, because I normally go on exercise in my Accus, so obviously you don't have to polish those, but that's just there for the sake of me showing you. Foot powder, what I also want to do with this is buy a little dry bag and tip it all in so you can just put your foot into a dry bag, but it's a job on the list we haven't gotten around to. Same with my wash kit. I basically have been using this wash kit on all the exercises I've gone on the last year, and for the whole year I've been saying I'm gonna redo my wash kit, and I just haven't got around to it. But basically what I want to do is get a little plastic container like this, and my mirror I want to glue on the inside of the container, black out the container obviously, and then put what I'd normally put in there, which is basically just a flannel, a little shower gel type thing, and toothbrush. That's pretty much all I keep in my wash kit, and like a comb. And also it's easier when it's in a plastic container like this, because if you ever need to fill it up with water or anything, you can do it in here. Whereas in basic training they teach you to do it in your mess tins, and there's always something a bit icky. So doing it all in a plastic container to me just makes more sense. Yeah, as you can see, we haven't quite gotten around to that yet. And on the final pouch, on the other side, different colour dry bag. The other ones are black, this is like a green. I explained in my rations video how I like to split the rations down, but this is a visual example of how I actually do it. I keep all of my rations in these like bags. Basically, it's 3 meals and snacks in one bag. It eats it right down like that, and I know that one of these bags is one day, so if it's pitch black and I have to dig around and pull something out because we're going on a patrol for X amount of hours, I just know I need to grab a bag and that's me done. On top of that, I also have drinks separate, because if I want to pull something out, these need to be separate to meals just so I know like what's what. And then in terms of cooking, I haven't advanced to a jet boil yet. I just don't really feel like I go on exercise enough to benefit, but I would say if you know you're in the infantry or you're in the regs, after basic training, jet boil is like, I'd fully recommend them. I think they're great, but for me I'm still at the metal mug hexy vibes, and what I like about it is it's very compact. So obviously this is all of my fuel, lighter, stove, and what I'd cook it in. My stove, that is definitely not cleaner than I thought it would be, and loads of fuel that I was pouring out, fuel for the stove, and a lighter. It's also worth me saying, obviously on exercise I have a day sack too, so the way I rotate this kit into my day sack is basically, in my day sack I have one big day sack liner. I keep my wet and warm kit in there, so like gloves, normally waterproof jacket, and like a buffalo or a fleece. That's normally what I take, maybe a thermal if it depends on the time of the year. All of that then just lives in my day sack. And then in terms of food, if we're going on a patrol or depending on how long we're going to be gone for and I'm not going to have my Bergen, I pull out 1 day worth of food, bring my cooking system, metal mug, chuck all that into my day sack, and I'm ready to rock. Everything I've talked through lives in the Bergen, and the only things I pull out is food. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful seeing like where I put my kit and how I like to separate it up. Obviously this is my personal preference. This is just how I found it's easier, you know, through the last almost 2 years of me being in the army. But yeah, if you have different ways or any tips and tricks, feel free to comment them below to help other people out. I'll see you guys in the next video. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.